Alright, so you're playing TF2 and you queue for a casual match. You get dropped into a game. First question, does your team have a medic? Of course not, you're playing casual. Medics win games, and you want to win. Let's play medic. Okay, what set of weapons do you use? What is your loadout? Well, it depends. Step 1, are either of the following true? Are you playing capture the flag? Or are teams made up of 7 or fewer players each? For now, let's say that neither of these conditions are true. Step 2. Is your team in an offensive position? This can mean either pushing into the enemy team's last point on 5 CP, or it can mean playing on the blue team on either payload or attack defend. Attack defend maps are when the round begins with all the control points belonging to red. So yes, you're playing offensive, then you're trying to push in. So run the meta. That's the stock metagun, crossbow, Ubersaw. Now, let's go back to step 2. And this time, let's say that your team is not in an offensive position. Okay, are either of the following true? Is it the start of the round on 5 CP, or are you on red during the setup time? That's the minute before the round starts in earnest on attack defend or payload, where red has free reign over the map before the blue team is released. If yes to either, consider running the same loadout, but with the Kritzkrieg instead. This will allow your demo men to set up their pre-round sticky traps with crit stickies that do triple damage. You can usually get 2 or 3 Ubers during the setup. Pop your last Uber with at least 20 seconds left on the setup clock. This will give you enough time to have a full charge again when the gates open. Just watch out for dispensers and other medics. These will slow down your build rate. In addition to setting up on red, Kritzkrieg may also be a good option during the start of 5 CP rounds. The overheal is on par with the stock, and the faster build rate may allow your team to get a drop on the enemy medic. Okay, you were running Kritzkrieg and you died. Now ask yourself this question. Step 4. Do you trust your team? The Kritzkrieg is the only medic secondary where Ubers provide no protection to you directly. If you can rely on your team, keep the Kritzkrieg. Check the scoreboard to see if there is a player with significantly more points than anyone else. They are carrying the team. If they are playing soldier, demo, heavy, or maybe pyro, you've got a recipe for success. Stick with them. If the other team is running stock Uber, you'll be averaging full charges sooner with the faster build rate. Your objective should be to kill their medic before they can get charged, or to force them to pop early so that their Ubers get spent before they can cover the ground to reach your sentry nest. Otherwise, meaning you're not on a capture the flag map, the teams have 8 or more players each, you're not in an offensive position, it is not the start of a 5 CP round, you're not setting up, and you don't trust your team enough to run Kritzkrieg. Run the same loadout, but with the quick fix. The quick fix works great on defense or King of the Hill. Spread the healing around as much as possible. The Uber build rate is slightly faster than the stock metagun, giving you options to either push into the advancing team to try to drop their medic before they reach charge, or allowing you to endure them Ubering into your team. The immunity to knockback and air blast will help with this. Just make sure to switch off the Uber if the other team is capping underneath you. Blast jumping with your healing target can be used to reach flank routes, or to fall back quickly when overextended. But in general, you're going to want to stick with the herd, and stick close to the final point, or the hill. Also, watch out when healing a shielded demo man. They tend to spontaneously shield charge away from enemies, oblivious to the possibility that they could be shield charging you into them. We're going back to step 1, and this time, let's say that you are playing capture the flag, or that teams are 7 or fewer players. If either of these conditions are true, consider running Vaccinator, Blutsauger, and whatever melee. The assumption is that confrontations will involve fewer players, either because they're more spread out during capture the flag, or because there's just fewer of them. That means there's a less likelihood that you'll have to worry about all 3 damage types at once. It means you stand a better chance of protecting yourself. Consider popping a bubble on your healing target, then switching to shooting syringes to help deal damage. If your healing target dies and you find yourself fighting the enemy alone, backpedal while firing syringes, and use bubbles on yourself, remembering that they go away early if you switch off the Vaccinator. Choose a melee that complements how you behave when caught out alone. If fight, use stock. If flight, use the amputator. And if you're having trouble deciding, use the solemn vow. The Ubercharge benefits of the Ubersaw and the Vitasaw may not pair well with the fast-building Vaccinator. And there you go. Finding your medic loadout in 4 easy steps. Simple. Right? I think we have time for 3 side notes. Side note 1. The Vaccinator is a great way to farm 6 points during the setup time when on blue. You're not doing anything anyway, and doing it consistently will help increase your casual level. Just make sure you switch to the stock metagun so that you're ready for the gates to open. You will need about 20 seconds left on the setup clock, no less than 13 seconds. Side note 2. Let's talk about behavior while Ubering. When running stock, try to absorb as much damage as possible. Get in front and just stick your face right into that sentry. When running crits, try to take as little damage as possible. Keep your target on a long leash and hope that they don't let any enemies pass. When running quick fix, try to absorb about half the damage. It is possible for the enemy to outdamage the 3x healing Ubercharge, so forcing them to do so across 2 targets will make it twice as hard. Side note 3. A final note on communication. The Ubercharges of the quick fix and vaccinator can be used spontaneously and reactively for defensive purposes. The stock metagun and Kritzkrieg demand communication. Announce when you are at 80% so that your healing target can reload and your spies can get into position. Since you're going to want to be as far back as you can during a Kritzkrieg Uber, it may be useful to let your healing target call when to pop since they can see further forward. A good line to use is, alright, whoever, player 1, when you call for medic, you're going to get crits. Okay, that's all I got.